are doing grades for free agency. We're going to go over each player that the Lions picked up in free agency and re-sign. Give the grades of those players, what it means for the team, the Lions roster, and the NFL draft going forward, because it's literally in a couple of weeks, well, a little bit over a month. If you could do me a favor and smash that like button, it would be greatly appreciated. It's free to do so, and it really does help the channel out. Thank you very much. Now, we're just going to go with, there's no order for this, even though the first person that we're starting with here is going to be DJ Reed. Just going to go over the players to give you my thoughts here. DJ Reed, I got to give this one a great grade. Why is that? Because we lose Carlton Davis in free agency, and we pick up DJ Reed from the Jets, who, yes, is a little bit smaller, but he's feisty, and he is Dan Campbell, right? He's the little guy that scraps. He's a very good cornerback. I actually think he's an upgrade over Carlton Davis, and that's kind of hard to get, right? I didn't expect the Lions to go this route, and they did, and I'm happy about that. So with the DJ Reed pickup, and given that he's going to go with the Lions secondary that's feisty with Brian Branch, who likes to be physical. We got Meek Robertson, who's physical. Our team's physical. He seems to be a player who is exactly Dan Campbell, so I got to give this one an A+ here. I think this was a great signing. You know, I really wanted the Lions to get Carlton Davis back. I didn't expect them to do an upgrade, so I am very excited about this. Plus, it was cheaper than the Carlton Davis signing. So he's going to be fitting perfectly into what the Lions want. So I think this is a phenomenal grade. I think it's a phenomenal player all around, and I give this one an A+. What do you guys think in the comments right now? A, B, C, D, or F? Give me your thoughts on this one. The next signing we're going to talk about here is Roy Lopez, the defensive tackle we got from the Arizona Cardinals. Now, he's not the biggest name in the world, and he's going to be a run stopper and a player who's going to be rotating around this defensive line, rotating on the interior of the defensive line. We definitely needed that with Lee McNeil being injured. We don't know exactly, right? Levi Onwuzurike's had his injuries before, right? The defensive line has been all sorts of banged up. So we needed to have a player come in here and be a rotational piece. And so when I look at that in itself, I'm going to give this one a B grade. I think it's perfectly fine to have Lopez on here. I think we needed to get a guy who is a rotational piece. He's not the biggest name in the world. He's not a guy who's going to get all the sacks in the world, but he's going to help stop the run. And he brings some relief in players, honestly, to this defensive line because we needed this. We needed the depth there. And Brad Holmes talked about depth, and I know a lot of people want to get bigger names and signings when it comes to the defensive line. But this, for him specifically and what he is going to do, I give this one a B grade. And I think he'll be fine. He is a solid player. He'll be fine. It's a one-year deal. It's nothing gigantic. He's not going to come in here and break the world, but he's going to do his job, right? The Lions are going to be looking for defensive tackle if they want to make a game changer. You know, they're going to have to wait till Lee McNeil gets back, or they're going to have to go into the draft and get a defensive tackle that's more for the long term. But right now, for what he is bringing, I'm going to give this a B. I can't knock him on for what the Lions haven't done. I can just only do what he brings to the Detroit Lions. And just like I asked before, grade this signing. I gave it a B. What do you guys think in the comments right now? Let's continue on and talk about the linebacker the Lions picked up. That's Grant Stuard out of the Indianapolis Colts. When I look at what he brings to the table, he's a hard worker and all of that stuff. He is putting depth on this linebacker. He's going to be taking over the Jalen Reeves-Maybin role. He does special teams as well. He's actually really good in special teams, and he's a depth player. Again, I'm not going to knock him for what he brings to this team. And he's bringing the Jalen Reeves-Maybin role, an extra depth. I think he's better than Jalen Reeves-Maybin at linebacker, and he's a really good special teams player. That's what sometimes you just got to get, right? So when I look what he brings to the table, I'm going to give this one a B signing. Again, it's a depth player. There's nothing wrong with putting depth on this football team. I don't have an issue with that. We're going to talk about what the Lions need to do at the end of this going forward and where I have my concerns. But what he brings to the table, I'm going to give this one a B. Let's go into an interesting player after this one, and we're going to be talking about the quarterback Kyle Allen that they picked up in free agency. Clearly, it's to back up Jared Goff, and I think with this one, we just don't know what the situation is going with Hendon Hooker here. You look at Kyle Allen, he is nearly 50-50 regards to touchdowns and interceptions, 26-23. He has been a career backup his entire career, basically. That's what he is. He is a placeholder. He is a pencil holder, and he helps out Jared Goff for whenever Jared Goff needs help. But the question here is, what does it mean for Hendon Hooker going forward? And that is something that we don't know at this point. When I look at Kyle Allen, though, he's just a backup guy, and it just puts more questions than really answers. So for right now, and I just look at this situation, I give this one a C-. I'm not big into this quarterback signing here. Again, you're taking a quarterback. He's just right now, is he a 3? We don't really know. Doesn't really done anything. And if we still have Hendon Hooker, he may not even make the roster, or then you'd have to trade a Hendon Hooker or something like that if they want to go 2 quarterbacks. We don't really know the situation right now, but I'm going to give this one a C-. It doesn't inspire me on anything, doesn't change anything. You're not going to see him on game day unless clearly life is devastating if that occurs. So grade the Lions signings outcome, or free agents who are not in Detroit coming to Detroit in the comments right now. Let's switch it up to the last signing from outside coming in, and that's us getting a tight end, Kenny Yeboah, over the free New York Jets. What type of tight end is he? He is a pile mover. He is a run-blocking tight end. That's what he is. What I like about this signing, and why I'm going to give it a decent grade here, it's not for what he, who he is, anything. It's what it means potentially for the Lions offense. A 3rd and 1. Maybe we're going to run the football more because we're instances in 3rd down and they would pass. This guy is a better blocker than Shane Zylstra. That's what he is. He's a blocker. And so having that could change the Lions offense on these 3rd and short. So I'm going to give this one a B signing because I want to see them run the freaking football in 3rd and short. And maybe Kenny, or KY for short here, that's interesting, can slip right through, and we can get those third and shorts and get those first downs when we need it. Let's go ahead and do some of the re-signings right now. We're just kind of going to throw them a little bit all together on this one here because we've picked up quite a bit of our own free agents. So we're just going to start with a little bit. I'll name them off here. Levi Onwuzurike, I'm going to give this one a B+. I think this was a great re-signing. I don't think people understand the importance of bringing him back. He's going to help on that interior defensive line with Roy Lopez, Lee McNeil, and DJ Reader. Really important. And it was a cheap deal. It's a prove-it deal. Levi Onwuzurike balled out, in my opinion, last year. And we took the time to develop him. Of course you want to bring him back. So I'm going to give this one a B+. I love what Levi brings to this football team, and I'm happy that we got a re-signing for him to come back to Detroit. I think that was an extremely important re-sign. Go B+. Marcus Davenport comes back to the Detroit Lions. This one's going to be a different grade. The contract is a nothing contract, right? You have to work. He's going to have to work for it. But he has not been healthy at all. In 3 years, injury. He played in 2 games last year, $10 million deal. Didn't do anything for the Lions. He was the Vikings injury, to the Saints injury. And if he comes back, this is what we know about him. He is an injury-prone player. In theory, yes, if everything works out, great. You're getting a bargain deal, all of that stuff. But history has proven he is an injury-prone player, so we can't do that. So when I go to the grade for Marcus Davenport, honestly, this could be even, I would probably do a D or a D-. The reason I'm doing this, the only reason it's not a D- is the contract. But I do feel He is not going to be healthy throughout 17-game season. And we've seen at the end of the year, when you don't have bodies, what happens to you. And it is important to have healthy bodies on this defensive line. That's why I'm taking exception to this re-signing. We got to see what they do. If they don't bring in another pass rusher and they just wait for the draft, I think that's a big mistake. I think you have to have another veteran body, and I am going to put this a little bit on Marcus Davenport because there has been proven he has been injured year after year after year. That's why I have a worse grade on this one. Let's get to continue on here. Dan Skipper, I give this one a B+. Why is that? Dan Skipper. He is the extra offensive lineman. We know exactly what he does. That's what he is. And he has his role, and we like his role. He's a backup. We can rely on him when we need to rely on him. That is what we love. This is going to be probably for the highest grade for the Lions. Bringing back their own guys. We're going to go Tim Patrick here. I give this one an A+. Tim Patrick is great to the Lions offense. He is a great number 3. I think he had almost nearly 400 yards receiving. I'll go to 700 this year. Tim Patrick is exactly what the Lions need. He was reliable. He caught everything. He wasn't injury prone last year, and he did another 1-year prove-it deal prior to get a big contract. Huge shout out to him right there. And Derrick Barnes, I'm giving this one an A-. The Lions fans, I think, were a little bit boo-boo-ish on Derrick Barnes, but I think the world of him. He was excelling before he got, he's been Detroit and he got better every year. Last year he played, not the injury, but the year before that he was playing great, right? He got better, and then before the injury he was good too. And he's not an injury-prone player; it's more of a freak accident. Now, if he continues to get injured, okay, but his history with Detroit has been healthy, so I'm gonna give this one an A-. Overall, when I look at the Lions' grade in free agency and I look at everything that's going on and the grades, I'm gonna give this one. I would say I'm going to put B. It says B, but I'm going to go B-. I'm going to go with B- right now. I want to see the edge. They have to get another pass rusher. It's a matter of math. And right now, we're lackluster at that position. And the players that we do got, there is a history of injury to them. I expect them to get a guy high in the draft, but I still think the Lions need another veteran pass rusher. So overall, I'm going to give it a B-. Even though it says B, I'm going to give it a B-. What's your thoughts, folks? In the comments, give me your grades in Lions free agency.